Good morning. My name is Colin Carmichael. I'm the Executive Director of the Huron Chamber of Commerce, and this is the Monday morning check-in for the Huron Economic Response Task Force for March 31st. And so I'll start as I always do, just reminding everyone that this is being recorded and will be published to the task force website later today. Just for folks who can't make it onto the call at 8:30 on a Monday morning. And so that the information here is available for everyone in the future. So off the top, I will mention that the task force has put together a webinar for tomorrow. And just a reminder that when I say the task force, I mean the three chambers who kind of pulled this together: South Huron, Bayfield and Area Chamber, and Huron Chamber. Anyways, we have a webinar tomorrow at noon called Navigating Uncertainty. And we have a panel of four local business leaders who will be sharing just a few tangible things each that businesses can do right away in the face of uncertainty, just to kind of prepare for the unknown as much as we ever can. And given that the next big news apparently it will be on Wednesday the 2nd. Tomorrow's kind of a good place. So I don't have my notes in front of me, so hopefully I'll remember. So we have Dr. Erin Ross from the Clarity Group in Goddard. She's going to be talking about some mental health aspects of this. Of course, it's a very stressful time for everybody, business owners, employers, and employees, and that's a key piece as well for employers to help keep their staff stress levels down. So she'll be kind of giving some points there. Paul Nickel from Community Futures Huron will be talking about ways that that they can help financially and other kind of financial strategies that businesses can, again, take to prepare for the possibility of needing funding. And John Marshall from Marshall and Associates, he'll be just talking about some basic business strategies that folks can be looking at to prepare for an uncertain year. And again, that's the theme, is just things that you can do right now, given we don't know the details of what the tariffs are going to be. Things that we can at least start thinking about, perhaps business owners can, so that they're ready when that other shoe drops, as we were talking about earlier. So, and then the fourth panelist has popped out of my head. Erin Ross, Paul Nickel, John Marshall. Trish Gill from Ladder HR Services. She's based out of Grand Bend. So she'll be talking about some human resources aspects that businesses can do to prepare for, I suppose, for bad news, but just for, again, an uncertain year. So if a business owner is thinking that perhaps layoffs are possible, depending on the details, then what could they do now to be prepared for that, rather than scrambling when that becomes a reality? And just other ways of just kind of shoring up the human resources side of things. Understanding that in a lot of our businesses in Huron County, human resources is sometimes done off the corner of someone else's desk, and often it's the business owner doing it, and a number of other things. So that's happening tomorrow at noon online. The event is on every place I can put it. So Eventbrite, Facebook, our website, Zoom link is there. And so I encourage you to share that with your networks as you can. Okay. That's all I have for now. I do have a couple of resources to share on the website later today. I did, after last week's call, Ted Oak from Farm Credit Canada sent me some resources to put that they have for the agriculture community. So those went up last week on that resource page. That continues to grow there. So with that, I will open the floor. If anyone has any input, anything to share, any news. Um,
I don't have any news or anything to share, but I do have a question. How are others finding business owners' engagement in their own success at this point? I'm still finding a significant amount of apathy, and I'm struggling to figure out how to ensure that these people have the information that could be helpful to them. And I do understand lead the horse to water and all, but I'm just struggling because I know that when the poop actually hits the fan, they're going to be struggling and they're not going to know where to find the resources, even though it's been spoon fed to them more than once a week. So I'm just wondering if anybody has any insights.
Anyone want to jump in there? I mean, I think probably some of it has to do with the uncertainty of it, and that they have their businesses to run, they have their stuff to do, and they're just waiting to find out what the actual impact is going to be on them when it happens. It's part of why we put this webinar together tomorrow, to get people thinking about preparing for what's coming down the pike. I think yeah, but if I had to guess, that's kind of where I would think, is it's just that because there isn't a concrete, we're going to be affected this way, and we know that, it seems tough to prepare, I guess, and to be thinking about it. Anyone else have any thoughts on that?
I'll just jump in. Like, I mean, Terry, I think you're doing the right thing. It's a lot of times I think Colin's right, and that it's tough to sort of devote time and effort to things until it becomes real, until we find out what real is. But I think you sort of doing the work and showing your face and sort of being there for your businesses means that when, as you say, things do get tough, I think what you want is that you'll be the first person they call when they do need that assistance, and then they'll know where to go. So at least experience here in the office, working with businesses, that it's hard to get their attention until it's really real and actually happening. And that's across all different issues and sectors. But what you want at the end of the day is that that they call you when it does become real and they need that help. And if you sort of set your expectation there that it's going to maybe a bit, but you'll be the one they call when it does get challenging.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that very much. I also have one other small issue. We have a very small contingent of a couple of guests who come to the village regularly, and a couple of permanent residents who are insisting that we remove the American flags. We're struggling with this because it's important to us that Americans come. We need their money. We want them to support Canadian businesses. So I'm struggling on how to navigate that.
Yeah, I know that a couple of municipalities in the province have caught little snippets of things. I think Barrie was one, or Aurelia up that way, where the mayor came out pretty strongly about taking the flags down, or maybe it was anyway. Yeah, I think particularly on on our coast here, where we host kind of lots of American families and visitors, that we don't want to, I mean, and this is just my opinion, so feel free anyone to jump in, but we want to maintain our relationship with with the people of the United States, while at the same time, taking a strong stand kind of against the administration, and being able to separate those two things. And we don't, again, I mean, for me personally, I have family in Michigan. We're not suddenly anti-American, and they didn't, they aren't imposing tariffs. Now, whether or not they voted for Trump, that's a different issue. But I think we have to be, my opinion is we have to be careful about maintaining those relationships with our neighbor. They're going to be our neighbor forever, well beyond the current administration. And so I do get a little concerned with that the pro-Canada movement, which is great, obviously, quite easily bleeds into an anti-American as opposed to an anti-American administration, right? And becomes, and we saw this with the boycotts or calls for boycotts in February. And the Huron Chamber spent some time talking about the fact that our local franchises of American corporations, for example, are local business owners who do a lot of good work in the communities. And so boycotting, McDonald's or a Domino's or whatever, doesn't necessarily have, there's collateral damage there that's local as opposed to impacting the US. So yeah, I mean, in terms of taking down the flags, for me, it's what do you gain there versus what do you lose? And I think you risk, in some way damaging the relationship with those folks who we depend on, our economies depend on for spending their US dollars in Grand Bend, Bayfield, Goderich, all the way up the coast, right? So that would be my take.
I absolutely agree. I'm just struggling to find the way to shift and not make it's always the vocal ones who have the opinion that you have to try and help. So, and that's what I've said to them. Like, we welcome our American guests. They're important to our economy. They're important to supporting the local area and Canada. I mean, American dollars coming over are great, and they've been less and less the last few years. Last year was a little bit better, but the couple of years before that, we saw a significant decline in Americans. So if they're coming to support Canada, then I say some.
Yeah, and if you want to do something, then double the number of Canadian flags. That can't hurt, right? So anyone else with anything? I know we're all kind of waiting for April 2nd. So there was news last week with the auto sector, the announcement about the auto sector, which I guess isn't in effect until Wednesday. I think that's how that went. I think my sense is we're not as impacted by that as some of our neighbors in along the 401 corridor in Alliston and Windsor and those kinds of, where they have large automotive plants. I think we do have some feeder manufacturers that feed into that automotive sector, but not in a large way, not in any way that's huge impact, but it obviously is a concern for those few that do feed into that sector. So again, something to keep an eye on Wednesday. I don't know if anyone's heard from manufacturers who'd be impacted by the auto tariffs in particular.
I haven't heard from anybody. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nathan.
No, that's right. We deal a little bit with the auto industry. We supply some rags to the industry. Again, they've been taking material from us, so it's haven't seen a slowdown yet. But again, the the theme is the psychodrama, right? Like we don't know what's going to happen until things sit in place, because all of a sudden you can have a last minute hour where something gets changed and everything is status quo, but we're going to pick on other countries that are apparently, you know, this trade deficit stuff that, you know, we've been hearing a lot with all these other countries. Even for ourselves, it's our customers are asking us what the scoop is with tariffs, and we don't know. And it's just it's so hard with the up and down, and you know, things changing from hour to hour. It's like, you know, it's almost, we need Wednesday, and then we go from there and see what happens.
If it's any theme too, it feels like the rumors going around even shortly after the auto tariffs were announced were that, you know, there was a strong chance that the tariffs against Canada may get reduced in some way. There was a lot of I don't know. There's just, this is all rumor, right? Like, and who the heck knows, right? At the end of the day, it's just, you know, whatever ends up happening. But the rumor was that there was a lot of pressure on the the Liberal government not to immediately retaliate or announce any retaliatory tariffs against the on the auto announcement, just because there was, again, rumor that that Canada's auto tariffs may get reduced in some form or another. So, which then, Nathan, to your point, right? Like, is April 2nd going to be the be all and end all? Part of me is thinking probably not. Like, we'll probably have some dicking around afterwards, and who knows what gets reduced and what gets moved around. It seems the theme of this year seems to be smash it with a hammer, and then sort of come back again and try to put the pieces together and go again, and then smash it again, and then see what happens. So I don't know. We'll see if it's third time's a charm on Wednesday, but
yeah, and you know, one of the other strategies that businesses can look at is to take a more longer term approach, and I think actually that's part of the engagement I've been hearing is okay, so the next few months are going to be crazy with, you know, whatever the Americans decide to do on any given day. But, you know, how do I diversify my export markets? How do I engage with Europe instead of, the US or other markets? Or how do I find, you know, domestic clients or suppliers, and, you know, just kind of shifting those. Now those aren't the kind of things that happen overnight. So they don't really kind of help in the short term, but as a longer term solution to protect against this kind of thing. If there's been one lesson out of all of this, it's that, you know, when you're too dependent on one source of either you know, supplies or customers, then you're increasing your risk. So all of that's just to say that the Export Development Canada and Business Development Bank of Canada have both done a couple of really good webinars recently that I believe are available to the recordings are available. And if not, I have them. The Ontario Chamber did one last week as well, which was really good around export markets and kind of that those longer term solutions. And that one, I believe, is publicly available as well. So for anyone kind of watching this, or if you're talking to your folks, those kind of national organizations or provincial organizations are sharing some good resources and strategies and things to think about, you know, protecting yourself in the long term. There was another one, EMC. Was that sorry, you're muted there, Crystal.
Excellence in Manufacturing Consortium.
Yeah, they had one.
They're really great. Yeah,
2 weeks ago they had a really good one that I believe is available as well. So, anyway, I think I'm probably going to add a section to the news and resources page, or maybe I'll have a separate page because that's getting a little full, just in terms of listing those webinars that have been held and will be held, if folks if folks want to access those, because they are good sources of information in terms of expanding markets and diversifying your, you know, either revenue or supply chains.
Colin, if there's a link at the EDC after some of those webinars, they post like a PDF document that's just full of links
Yeah.
to this stuff. I just posted the one there from the last one. I don't know if that's one you think might be useful or not, but it's got
Right.
the most recent. It was the one after the most recent webinar. Anyway, you can see if there's a lot of stuff in there, so it's a little.
Well, and that's part of the challenge is you go from not enough information to too much, and there's just how do you find what's most relevant? You can't sit through 12 hours worth of webinars to find the little nugget that that's relevant to your business, but
and some of them aren't that great. Some are awesome, but some
yeah, there was that one in particular that Chris and I were on that was not great. Anyway, so yeah, any other final thoughts before we wrap up this morning? Seeing no hands or good. Okay, well, we will wrap up for this morning, and we'll get this video posted or recording posted up on the task force website and shared around, and we will see everyone in a week's time, early on Monday morning. Thanks, everyone.
Great, thanks.